being is in you. And me too, and the little doggy, and the carpet, and the atmosphere, the trees, the birds, the bees, the eagles, and the fleas, and everything else that comes forward, even if it doesn't seem to please you right now. It's an and how moment, because you realize that same love, that same life, that face of God is smiling back at you everywhere you look. Everything you see, a work of artistry, a work of the most intricate and respectful of love. Life in deep respect for itself creates the experience we live in, all of it. And that life flows through you. So it's all about your perspective too. What you see is what you be. What you experience, that's what you are. For the moment. And this moment is the beginning moment. Because it's like collective soul. We go down the sea and we take in a big deep breath of that humidified air, and we find out that it's all joined together there in the atmosphere. And the atmosphere, yeah, it's kind of invisible in some ways, yeah, the ethereal. But that's where we be, see? That's the heart's energy, quite naturally, coming forward from inside. That is our supreme being. Now that doesn't mean you're rising above and trying to boss everybody around like the ruler of the universe. Do you know what a ruler really is? It's a measurement. It's a measuring stick, in fact, you know. So you gauge the life you live through your own rulership, through your own perspective. That is your rulership. That is the measurement of life we're living in, okay? That's where the beauty and the truth comes into play, man. And, you know, we're here together in it all. Each and every day. Each and every J, too, speaking of which. Let's have a little Mary J here. Keep ourselves high. Have a nice little medicinal toke, okay? Expand ourselves in that soft-hearted sort of way, where our mind can finally accept what the heart's been trying to say forever. And unfortunately, our program has held us back. But babies, guess what? Like I said earlier, darkness exists to goad you on into the light. There is no real darkness. That's another one of those perspectives we create here to help ourselves along the way. And I've done a little bit to myself today, just that same way. And, you know, everybody does one way or another. But there's a sweet, expansive toke for you, my brother and my lover, and my sweet sisters, and all the rest of us that are the rock stars of the universe, you see. That's what I mean. We're joined together in equity. Human beings, we're special. We're the colorful ones. We're the door openers. We're the ground breakers. We're the ones here to set everyone free across the universal reality and beyond it too, babies. Because as you begin, you expand on in to all the other dimensions, you see. And then you see no division anywhere. You realize it's one big, fat, parallel, joined together, dimensional expression of life. Multiplicity, you know, in dimensional ways, yet it's just one big old huge heart. That's our supreme being. That's our supreme life. That's our supreme love in motion. And that's why I can put out a little appeal like I did a few moments ago to let's get together heart and soul and help each other out, don't you know? There's one particular soul here nearby me here, and if you just join with my heart, we'll help her come back to life and get it clear, okay? So darlings, just keep that good energy flowing that way, and it'll come right back to you too, and help you through whatever you're getting through. See, we all have our handicap. We all have our little bit of darkness goading us on until we're finally through with it, until we don't need it anymore. And I'd say we're pretty darn close to that moment right now. As a collective, I know it seems like, you know, when you look around you in the 3D world, that, ooh, wow, this thing is falling apart. Somebody's pulled the flush handle and it's all going down the drain. Well, it's got to give up somehow, you know. It's got to expose itself. It's got to be real. It's got to be truthful. It's got to be right, you see. So we're just changing our perspective, the way we live it, the way we see it, you see. We don't give anybody authority over ourselves, nor do we take authority over another. That is the illusion. That's the way of polarity. That's the way of darkness and lightness, don't you see? But in the brightness, which is the combination of life, everything, every energy is equally appreciated and equally effective here throughout the reality. Whether it be a little buzzing bee that services the flowers, don't you see? Or the likes of you and me in the glorious human form, or something we find beyond the norm out there in our cousins called E.T., haha, because they're part of it too, man. We spread our family far and wide. In the long ago of millions of years ago, when humanity was beginning, into the journey of time, we created all that we see coming back to us now, all of it. We made human family all over the universe. We made what you'd call E.T. cousins all over the universe. Yet the universe made us and made all of that too. See, it's all working together. The universe is you, and you have an exact, all of us have an exact duplicate of the universe inside of ourselves. In our image, let's make them, and exactly what they did to the children of the universe, which is us, the human beings, you see. Kind of simple when you just allow it to be. But when you try to figure it out, you try to see this in that analytical sort of way, fall on your face every time. But guess what? When you're down, you're coming around. When you hit bottom, you're finding the top. When you're totally baffled, frustrated, and confused, that's when clarity is probably beating you over the head with a Nerf bat and saying, okay, wake up, kid, take a look at what's really going on, you see. I still call myself a kid, even though I'm up here to the age of 70. God, it just amazes me. I'm like a teenager turned 70, and I'm going, wow, how does this happen, man, And I'm just, even though I suffer a bit here and there, and I've, got mobility issues, etc., I'm tickled pink with what's going on here. Even when I cuss it, I get up early in the day and my whole bones don't want to move and my muscles say no. And, oh gosh, I tell you, it can be tricky business, man. But that is part of gaining your years, and stuff comes your way to help you along the way, whatever it is. I don't curse it. Even when I'm cussing it, I don't curse it. I bless it. And I bless it to help me learn and get over it real soon, because I don't like this immobility stuff. I like to be active in life, though I can be quite meditative and contemplative at times. That's the bear energy in me. It's kind of balancing the coyote energy a bit, don't you see? That's my more human aspect here in the 3D, you see. But, oh, darlings, I do like to get out and enjoy and absorb the wonderful world we live in. I take my little doggie for walks. I enjoy that so much. Yet there is no walks now, Maybe I'll figure some way to do it, but for a while I can't walk that far. I can't even hardly walk at all without my walker or a wheelchair, and then I'm walking a wheelchair, huh? Got to figure out a way to do that, eh? But darling, just keep that energy. Just keep that perspective, Keep that flow. Appreciate even the worst of things, don't you know? And you'll be better for it. And all the rest of us will too. And we'll learn to quit cursing each other for being stupid and greedy and all the other stuff we do. And we'll find that equity, that supreme being inside, that great mother love that cares so greatly. She'll let you live any way you want to live. But she's always there, that underlying stream that props you up and pulls you through even the most nightmarish of dreams, you see. And this life is a dream. Our higher self is dreaming our lower self into being, see? That there is no such division. If we think we have a higher self, we are the higher self. That is it, see? It's real simple. Your mind goes, oh, no way, man. It's not good. Gotta have authority. Gotta be. Gotta have law and order. Law and order starts with perfection, with harmony. You see, and that is perfection. But perfection is non-perfection. It recognizes that nothing can be perfect, that it's constantly expansive and growing, and that our experience exists that we might see all the different levels at which it serves us. It's not just what we're going through here in the 3D, the third density. It's the larger picture of it. Why we subject ourselves to that kind of stuff, see? And when we can start to see it in that way, then we're looking at it through the heart. And that's what changes our perspective of the day and helps us get along the way. That's a spring crick moment, okay? And when we recognize that we're in that kind of unity, we don't have to practice the buffoonery of before. We don't have to be the idiots anymore. We can be bright, beautiful, generous, loving, and as creative as we want to be. Given in the heart quite naturally, don't you see? You just have to allow yourself time enough to slow down, take a deep breath, and then another, and realize each breath is a new beginning. Each step is a step in the right direction, no matter which way it's headed, okay? Happy holidays, babies. You got something to celebrate, along with me and all the rest of us that live in the 3D. That's why I'm glad I was a little wintertime baby, babies, because, wow, how much better can it be than to be joined together in that holiday energy, you see? And I know for a lot of people it's depressing because, well, it ain't been what it's supposed to be. But guess what? It is what it are. And you are what you are in this is moment of time right now, see? You're coming around. You're getting the Christmas gift you always waited for. And it's not a Maserati under the tree. No way. It's you. It's your heart. It's your real life. It's your higher and lower getting in the glow of the Christmas lights and realizing we are the beginning. We are that spring crick. And everything we see, everything we live in, is what we create quite naturally for ourselves here in the 3D. We even pre-planned this experience, don't you see? Though once you get into it, it can change greatly, of course, and it does, and it will. Because, you know, just like the meandering rivers of life, it finds its own way, its own channel. You know, guided by gravity in a sense, but no way. It defies even gravity, you know, because it'll wear down, it'll roll uphill to wear down the hill so it don't have to flow around it anymore, you see. I've seen rivers do that. They're clever, you know. Water is an interesting thing. You can learn a lot about yourself hanging out around the water, you know. Even if you just go to a little mountain stream and dip your toes in and try not to freeze them off, you know. You begin to feel that original deal where life begins. That defining thing that defines the life you live in and doesn't need judgment to help it define it, you see. It just is what it be. Beautifully and magically. That's just the way it works here in the 3D, baby. That's the way it works all across reality, to tell you the truth. See? Aren't you glad you tuned into this tiny little mountain, this tiny little man in this tiny little sound booth here in this promised land of the Rocky Mountain High? Oh, darlings, you see, that's you and I together. Not just as two as one, but all of us, you and I, together as one supreme being. The being that is so supreme it holds no judgment on anything and lets it flow and lets it be what it wants to be. Without restriction, don't you see? That's us living it quite naturally, okay? Merry Christmas and a ho, 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 and away we go here on this little Coyote Medicine Show on the Everclear Hazy Radio Network, dear. This little Coyote Medicine Show we call Spring Crick, don't you know? From the beginning, you see. That's this moment right now. So keep it going here in the 3D, babies, and just know that you're here to set yourself free, and that's exactly what you're doing. That's exactly what you are. And that's exactly what you be on a Free Day Friday with your grumpy old grandpa who ain't so grumpy anymore. Well, sometimes. And just loves the life he's living and loves the lives around him, most especially. It's astounding what you see when you really start to experience the levels of life here in the 3D. Multidimensionally, as we call it here in the Everclear Hazy Radio Network, okay? Just helping us all get along the way. joining hands, joining hearts, baby. Ooh, it's a revolution bigger than anything. Fomented by the original rock and roll given forward from the heart and soul of the universe. Humanity's begun when the likes of Elvis stepped forward and began to shake his hips and sing in that baritone voice of his. Oh my goodness, chills up and down your spine. No wonder the girls wet their pants, man. I would too if I was a girlie. I almost did as a boy anyway. I like old Elvis. But that were the groundbreakers, and then came the real rock and roll, the harmony of life, demonstrated as life is lived here in the 3D, rock and roll. The roughness and the smoothness all together. It's all in a flow, okay? Now you know how to listen to it and participate in it in that multi-dimensional sort of way. That's why we have so much rock and roll here today on a Free Day Friday. Divine Harmony is here to set us free inside of each one of us quite naturally as the supreme beings that we are, okay? Just remember, we're all in it together, eh? What a beautiful life, man. Thank you for being in it. We really appreciate it, all of us. Even my little doggy, too, okay?